All right. Hello, everyone. We'll start right now. It's 2:01. I just realized it's 2:01, starting a bit late, but anyway, we're recording everything, and as usual, I'll put everything on YouTube. So, as I wrote to you, we're going to talk about uh, two new types of activities. Well, two new target languages that we've completed a bit more. And I'm going to take advantage as well of the activity digest to talk about not especially new activities, but things that activities that I think might help you. This is just kind of to answer a few questions I've had recently. I wasn't able to completely help with everything, but I did want to bring this up today. Look here, in type of activity, we have our good old, we've done quite a lot of webinars now, and we know we have all these presentation supports, these P1 type activities. Those are activities that you have in textbooks, things like that, so sort of fill in the blanks. They do come with our own grammar explanations, which are much better adapted at fluency than what you'll find in a lot of textbooks, unfortunately. P2 automate, P3 short mini dialogues to test fluency, production activities, camp materials, all those are clear. But check a look at this. There are a lot more little categories here that I did want to explore today. I'm going to start with this: increasing interest in activity. You see, you have it here. These three activities that you see. These activities are very useful if you have a group of kids, group of tweens that are struggling to follow your lead. There are a lot of different reasons why discipline, why authority can be an issue in classes with kids. There's so many reasons why it can happen. There's so many reasons why the kid himself or herself might rebel against your authority. And it's actually not especially your authority. It's just a natural rebellion that they need for whatever reasons they are. We are not trained psychologists, we're teachers. Actually, in Minsk at the Sky Teach Festival, there was a very good speaker. I would recommend you following her if you're interested in following that, called Luba Born. She actually experienced what she calls a proper burnout, as some teachers do. And she puts it down to that. She highly recommends to not take all the burden of raising a kid on yourself as a teacher, because that will definitely lead to a burnout. That is why teachers burn out. We are not trained psychologists. We're not trained psychiatrists. We cannot save every child. It's sad to say. I mean, I love every child in my class, of course, and I want to help them. But I also realize that I cannot save them. There are some kids that are struggling with discipline, with authority. They need to rebel. They need attention for whatever reason possible. We cannot take all that burden on ourselves. We can do the best we can with the skills that we have as teachers. And one of them is definitely engaging students in our lessons, providing them with a different environment to what they're used to, a different pyramid of authority that they're used to. Very often kids are used to a strict pyramid, the parents are above, things like that. In our classrooms, we can provide those kids with a different atmosphere. Sorry, I've been speaking a lot. I just realized all of a sudden. And Tom and I have been developing different kinds of activities like that. These are not activities per se. These are different ways you can increase the interest in an activity of a student. And that hopefully, well, in my experience, students who struggle, they like these things. These are the kind of things that brings their attention back to the lesson, the activity, and can calm them down a bit. It doesn't entirely calm them down in terms of their energy level, but it calms them down in terms of rebelling against you. So for example, as a start, any pronunciation activities they're usually great fun to students, but it depends. They can rebel as well. There's a great one. I was teaching kids 10 days ago about in Tomsk, and there was a great pronunciation activity we did. The. They think they thanked Theodore. So, yes, it went like they think they thanked Theodore. It was a lot of fun. Students liked it, but then I had a group of teens, and they were a bit more, cool. And this worked like a charm with them. So these are different funny voices that students can use in their pronunciation exercises. And you can use that, I'm saying in pronunciation exercises, but actually you can bring this out in a lot of different activities, a lot of different speaking activities, even P2 activities, to kind of distract the student from studying. So the idea is that you cut out these cards. You have a little stack of these cards. You don't need you might not need all 15 of them here. We've just tried to provide a good number so that it offers variety to the students. You cut these out in a little stack of cards, and these are just an addition to any activity you want to do. Simply put, whatever the activity is, let's say it's a P2, it can be a short answer race, but you could just put these cards next to me and you tell me, okay, Antoine, pick the first card. Boom, what do I have? Opera singer. Okay, you're going to do the entire short answer race pretending to be an opera singer. So I don't have a short answer race right now, but on the top of my head, you ask me, am I sitting down? No, you're not. Are you talking to me? Yes, you are. Am I singing? Yes, I am. Things like that. So every time I have to answer this way, it's really a lot of fun. Students really get into it, and you can pretty much add it to any kind of activity you like. Here, what I demonstrated, the other student is aware of the card, but there is also, you can also do it as a guess activity. So basically, I pick the first card. I know that I'm supposed to do it as an opera singer. I answer the questions. For example, if it's the short answer race, we do the short answer race. You time me. I answer like an opera singer. And at the end of the short answer race, you are supposed to guess what I was being. There are a lot of these cards. They're a lot of fun. The pirate, every time. The ghost, you speak like this. Rock singer, the probably, no, you will probably speak all the way like this. Snail is always very slow, and so on. There are a lot of little things you can do with these cards. That was just a first kind of activity I wanted to show you for this. Distracting students, engaging students. You're increasing the interest the students might have in the activities. Any questions on that? Funny voices. All right. All right, the next one Hmm, this is for younger kids, of course. It's called Release the Dragons, so you can tell that a Release the Dragon activity is for younger kids. Teens are not going to find that cool. It's very simple. The idea here is that you present them with the idea of sorry, of a locked up dragon, and no matter what the activity is, really, you're giving them whatever. If it's a P2, you give them some kind of challenge. So for example, like do this short answer, do this tense build. Let's move to different kind of activities. Do this tense build in 4 seconds, and the dragon is freed. Yay! Super happy dragon. This is a nice way to engage small kids. They will always, you elicit the word sad from this, and you can describe the picture in different ways. This is the locked up dragon at the beginning activity, and it requires a bit of storytelling engagement on the part of the teacher, but that's exactly what we're good at. So you'll engage the students by being sad with the dragon and explain that your poor dragon, yes, it's locked up. You reference, what's the cartoon again? Dragons. Everybody thinks of Game of Thrones and the cartoon, How to Train Your Dragon. At one point, if I remember correctly, they get the dragons get captured by a bad guy. They're locked up. Reference that if the kids know it, and basically you show them the picture of the free dragon at the end of the activity. You'll see that they really get into it. If you do like these, if your kids, your students are getting into it, please do write us and we'll prepare a lot more with the designer. It doesn't have to be just dragons, it can be a lot of other things. But for now, yes, we have these pictures. We use them at our school of 1 locked up dragon and 1 free dragon. And for multiple step activities, you can also have these. So you start with 5 locked up dragons, and then you have 5 different pictures of these dragons flying away free. Look, they look so happy. I'm happy for them. You can cut them out separately and basically take them out only when they achieve certain steps of the activity. Even a review activity, actually, if they have 5 review exercises, you tell them you free 1 dragon with every activity that you finish, for example. So that was free the dragons. We have funny voices, not free, sorry, release the dragons. Those are 2 different ways of engaging the students, trying to increase interest in an activity, trying to focus those rebellious students. One last one. So this is called Silly Contest. Silly Contest is kind of fun, especially if you're using things like power teaching, whole brain teaching of Chris Biffle. So look at the procedure. It's actually quite simple. You divide the class into 2 teams. You give each team 10 points on the board, and then you choose a silly rule. This rule will be in place throughout the entire lesson. Whenever one member of a team breaks that rule, the team loses a point. Whichever team has the most points left at the end of the lesson wins the game. So this is inspired by power teaching, whole brain teaching. I highly recommend you to have 5 simple rules in the classroom that students have to follow. And if they don't, they either lose points or they win points for good behavior. Winning points for good behavior is usually more recommended, but that depends on rules in your school. And basically, they achieve things through those points. Rules can be very simple, like keep your teacher happy. That's a magic rule that is very useful because you can use that practically any time. Don't be late, do your homework, whatever rules you want. But sometimes these rules seem a bit too, even though they're only 5, the rules remind students of their regular school context. These playing this silly contest, silly rules once in a while really engages the students. So look, check out the rules that we've played for you. There's one rule that is English only that depends on the rules in your school, but this is something fun that the students can do once in a while. If it's a common rule, if it's always the rule in your school, don't use it as a silly rule, of course. Now, the other silly rules are good fun. You have no names, okay? You can't call anyone by the name, okay? For that day, you have to call people another way. It's easy to call teacher, but the students amongst themselves, it's a lot of fun. Every time somebody says the name of a person, boom, that team loses a point. No shouting is a very useful rule. I highly recommend if you have a very active class, a very very dynamic, very energetic class that sometimes you struggle to calm down. You might not want to use no shouting as your first silly rule, because kids are smarter than they let on. They'll notice that this no shouting is exactly, if you had been struggling with their shouting for a while and you introduce this as the first silly rule, some of them they're gonna understand. No touching your face rule. Anytime a kid touches their face, boom, lose a point. No yawning. Only names. People have to say the name of the person they want to talk to every time they start. Stay in your seats. Also, it's like the no shouting rule. It's a very useful rule. Whisper only. Throughout the entire class, we have to whisper. It's a silly rule. It's like that. So there you go. I wanted to start today with that. These are 3 different kinds of increased interest in activities that Tom and I developed and we've put on the website. If you need more, do let us know. We'll continue developing more and adding them to the website. We can add more funny voices. We can develop more Release the Dragons type activities that are basically rewards for completing activities. The silly contest, we can add more silly rules. These are 3 very good ways to distract students, to engage students. I highly recommend it. Are there any questions on these? All right. One more thing I did want to show you that is kind of similar. We started this thing. I gave a webinar about it beginning of September, end of August, about the adventures in the jungle. It's a story framing way of conducting your lessons. I'll briefly go over it. If you have any questions, we can talk about it more in details. Basically, the idea for now we've just added part 1. The whole idea is, again, to distract and engage kids, this time through storytelling. So the idea is a bit like Release the Dragons, but more complex. The idea is to provide the students in one lesson with a little storyline that they follow, and activities are built in the story. So you can use the story to kind of engage the students. You've got a whole teacher's guide. You've got your story pictures, color, if you have color printers, or if you can use a projector or anything like that. Black and white, if you want to print them easily. Then you have the student pack, the inventory items, the backpack inventory items, and instructions. So this first one, this part one, the whole idea is that you are in the jungle with your students. In this guide, you'll see the exact, the recommended wording and order of everything. So it's Saturday today, it's warm and nice. Look at the picture, where are you? That's what you say to students. You don't have to say that word by word, but yes, that's the idea. You're in the zoo and you show that to the students. You engage them in that way. In the picture, you can engage in more ways, like what are we watching exactly right now? It's a tiger. What do tigers eat? There are a lot of different things you can talk about. But the problem is that you ask the students, do you want to look at him closer? You look at him closer, and when the student, you see step 2, when you lean in, you touch the glass, and the glass is some kind of magical portal, something like that. So what's going on, you see in this picture, the entire class moves to the jungle. You show them this picture. Where are we? We're in the jungle now. It's really hot and it's a bit scary. Thank God one of us had a backpack. So we're taking the backpack, we'll need it. That's where we'll add different items that will win throughout the different parts of the story. But then we noticed the tiger that we were looking at in the zoo is there in the jungle with us. There's no more protection between us and the tiger anymore. So that's where we start running away. We're trying to escape, and the challenge is very simple. Whenever you have a challenge section, this is where you can incorporate any activity you like. Anything that you want to teach, any activity that you had planned in your lesson plan falls right here. It's a challenge section. So look, what can we do? You see the monkey. He's jumping out. He's using the branches and everything to jump over the river. We want to do exactly the same thing. To be able to do that, we have to complete this activity. You give your students whatever activity, you give them a challenge, like 80% correct or things like that, to cross the river. If everybody does, you show them that. Okay, now you're on the other side, you think you're safe, you're happy. Oh wait, no, tigers can swim. And you continue running. Challenge section, next challenge section, you arrive by a cave. So you want to go hide in there and to put the rock in front of the exit. Again, there are plenty of bats coming out. This is another challenge section. You can give the kids another activity to complete. There you go. Excellent. Here's your rock. So you managed to get out. You hide in the caves, and all the bats scare the tiger away. And there's one more challenge section, and it goes on like that. This is long enough to last you for a whole lesson. So, as I said, you have all the inventory items here and everything. Look, check it out. So this is the rock that they win in part 1. This is their backpack inventory. These are all the different items that they're going to win throughout the different parts of the adventure. In a nutshell, that's what I wanted to present. This is another way to engage the students in your activities. As I said, we can go more in details. If you do like this, if you do try this, do let us know if you want the part 2, part 3, because let's say they're in the works. But Tom and I have so many different types of activities. I have more to show you today. We need to talk about the comparatives, the verb patterns that you requested. So we will prioritize that as well. We'll continue, we'll add part 2, part 3, part 4. If you're interested, if you use them, if you find they're useful and they engage your students, do let us know, and we'll get part 2, we'll get part 3 rolling as soon as we can. All right? Any questions on that, the Adventures in the Jungle? Or in general, story framework, how it works? All right, good. Do let me know if any of these activities do help you out. Please let me know, and Tom and I will work on more. I hope these do. I really hope these do with your anything to do with engaging students. I decided to go this way. This is kind of a positive behavior manipulation. I hope that helps. Do let us know if anything else. Next, what did we have? Yes. So next, very popular request, a lot of requests on that. Verb patterns, and we've added that as an entire, you'll see we've added that here as an entire target language, basically, even though this is very, very broad. So I'm going to start, we've started, as I said, this is a vast project. I mean, it is essentially, these are things we need to build up with time. Verb patterns, collections of idioms, phrasal verbs, collocations, things like that. But it's very promising. So we're trying to put them in collections that come up in textbooks. Because, for example, attitude. So here you'll have, let me start with the P1. Yes, there we go. So for all verb patterns, we'll put it this way. We're going to give you more P1s in case you don't have enough in your textbooks, but most requests for verb patterns came from teachers who were preparing students for exams or using textbooks, which means that they have a set collection of these. So we're not going to avoid making things more complicated than they are, we look at the collections that exams or textbooks put together, and we'll develop activities for those for now. So for example, attitude, these are for exams. These are just constructions for students to have more than one way of just saying love, hate, like, dislike. So what do we have here? We have those verbs. You see enjoy plus being, hate plus being, love plus being. We have some more difficult ones. Can't stand, can't help, avoid, miss, regret, and want to plus V1. So we provide you with 2 FIBs. FIB means fill in the blanks. We tend to use abbreviations too much. So here you go. You have fill in the blanks. It's very simple. The students have to put the verb in the correct form. These are P1s for the verb patterns. But of course, we're looking for more than just P1s. P1s you'll find in your textbooks. So P2s, we've made card flips. And the card flips are going to work like this. You have the 9 verb patterns you want, and then 9 possible endings. You cut these into little cards, and you have students just simply playing card flip with these cards. So 2 stacks. 1 stack with the verbs, and 1 stack with these possible endings. And so I'll do it in the order, for example, of the instructions. For example, let's say I take my cards and I have first avoid, sleep. I avoid sleeping. I can't wait. I can't help looking at this picture. I can't stand watching this show. I enjoy hiking in the mountains. I hate going to the party. I love buying a new smartphone. I miss telling the truth. I regret being in charge. I want to work in the garden. Boom. And we provided you with a second one with more possible endings. Feeding the cat with prawns, checking my Facebook every minute, doing homework, talking to strangers, painting, making a cake, jumping off the cliff, swimming in the ocean, working in the garden. As you see, as usual, our imagination is always, I would say, it's both ridiculous and cynical at times. So this is your P2, a simple card flip to automate and automate and automate these verb patterns. I mean, honestly, for this, you know, also all the tense build cards, you can just take the tense build cards as well. It works the same way. The tense build cards are pretty much yeah, they're the most flexible. They're the most flexible cards you can probably have here. All the action parts, you can use them to automate lots and lots of things. So card flip, there you go, for verb patterns and attitude. Exactly. Just card flip, card flip, card flip. Now we did want to provide you, because well, that's mainly what's missing out there. It's difficult to get P2 activities to automate, even though really it's not complicated. As you see, sometimes a P2 activity just requires making cards, but there are also P3 activities, those short mini dialogues where we can concentrate on what we're trying to test. And we thought about that because when we were thinking about verb patterns for attitude, for example, well, there are a lot of production activities that are aimed at helping students practice these. But the problem with verb patterns with attitude, for example, verbs of likes and dislikes, is that really you can get by, students can get by not using the other ones and sticking to like, dislike, love, hate. So we decided to make a kind of P3 style card flip with characters. So here, look, it's the same collection, verb patterns, attitude. We'll keep it at that. Here, so exactly the same ones: avoid, can't help, can't stand, enjoy, things like that. Now check out the instructions. Students work in pairs. They take turns to take one card from each stake and make a sentence based on them. So, so there you go. So all of a sudden, you're not giving them the part after the verb pattern. You're giving them the subject. So they have avoid, can't help, can't stand, etc. And here they have their subjects. So let's give it a shot together right now. For example, so we have there in the instructions on the left, we see the verbs. So an alien, oh, an alien, you know what? Aliens avoid going to Earth because really, not the best. Dinosaurs can't help, well, dinosaurs, they couldn't help dying. It's kind of sad, but it's true. They tried to, I'm sure they ran very fast, but that meteorite, phew. I'm being very cynical today. It's Saturday. I should, okay, start again. Okay, aliens avoid what? Aliens avoid fast food because you know what? They're green. Okay, that was better. Dinosaurs can't help. Dinosaurs can't help eating. That's what they do night and day, I think. Well, that's what they did. Sharks can't stand. You know what sharks can't stand? Vegan food. That little boy, he's bored, he's reading a book. Well, great. I fall and enjoy with that. You know what? I actually think he enjoys being bored. He enjoys boredom. Look at him. He's pretending, he's bored because he likes it. This poor guy, this poor homeless guy, he hates, what does he hate? But you know what? It goes against the stereotype, but you know what? That homeless man hates alcohol. He's a very good homeless guy. Uh, Imagination takes some time. I see what you mean. But aliens, with kids, the homeless guy, yes, will be a problem. But do try, because aliens, dinosaurs, the princess, the mermaid. Look, let's see. What's the last verb? The mermaid wants to. The mermaid wants to be able to walk. That's her dream. The astronaut. The astronaut regrets leaving Earth. The princess misses. What does she miss? Well, the princess misses her prince. And the dentist, look at her. The dentist, you think kids will not have any imagination for a dentist? I think they will. The dentist, she is at love. The dentist loves what? The dentist loves giving me pain. That's what she loves. Oh yeah, I didn't take it that way. I was curious about your kids. Try it with the kids. The dentist was a great addition. I think the dentist always inspires kids. So this is what we called card flip with characters. It's a P3 because actually you're not giving your students the ending, you're just giving them a subject, a verb that is amongst our verb patterns for attitude, and they have to come up with some kind of ending. It's really good fun. And it is a P3. I'll show you after. We have a second collection. So last little P3. So you see, for now, this is the way we're developing it. Each verb pattern collection, here we have a collection of attitude, will have 4 activities. We might expand that as we move along. 1P1, which comprises of 2 fill-in-the-blank activities or make the sentences, things like that. A P2, a card flip to automate. And the P2 will try to provide you, for now they have 2 collections of endings, but we can develop that if you like them. And 3 and 4 are 2 P3s. 1, card flip with characters. And the second one, we call it mini dialogue. I saw a comment. Perfect. I'm glad that we responded to that pain, as you said, because yes, we got quite a lot of requests on that verb pattern. So we've been working hard on this. I'm excited about it as well. And I've already tried these in classes with kids and with teens. I like this. So look, the last 4th type of activity for these verb patterns, we call it mini dialogue. Students work in pairs. You see the instructions again. Students work in pairs. Students A and B have a mini dialogue based on the card they pick. Students go through each card one by one. All right. So let me show you the mini dialogues. You can imagine with our silly imagination and sense of humor. So your friend invites you to go camping. Explain why you don't want to go using the verb avoid. You're with a few friends, you start laughing and can't stop. Use can't help. Your friend offered you to adopt a stray cat. Explain to them why you don't want to do that. Use can't stand. Your friend wants to take a pottery class. Tell them that you want to join. Use enjoy. Your friends want to go to karaoke for your birthday. You don't. Use hate. Invite your friend for a walk in the park. Use want. So you can read, I'm not going to read every single card, but these are fun little dialogues. Again, they're P3s because they're mini dialogues. You can use them in 2 different ways though. As a P3, remember the whole idea of a P3 is to surprise students, to get them to have a spontaneous reaction. So in this case, you cut out these cards and the students have no preparation time. The cards are just in a stack. We pick one and we immediately start. For example, I pick the first one, invite your friend for a walk in the park. Hey, would you like to come with me for a little walk in the park? I really want some fresh air. I want to have a little walk outside. Do you want to come with? I immediately start and you react and we have a little dialogue, a mini dialogue like that very quickly. This is entirely P3 style because it's reaction. You have to react to my invitation right now. There is also a way for you to use these as production activities and also engage the students in another way. This is just, it came up in one of my lessons last week when I was trying this. You can have students make little plays in front of each other. So each pair or group of 3, group of 4 takes a card and has to prepare a short play based on the mini dialogue card. You can combine that to the characters. The characters that you have here, you can also, why is it blue? I'm clicking too often. The characters that you have here as well, you can cut them out basically, and each student picks one and that is their character for the play. You could come back to, at the very beginning of today's webinar, we talked about the funny voices activity. Take the funny voices, cut them out in little cards, and tell them that is their role for the little play. The one thing you have to be aware of just is that what you're doing here, if you do it in this format, you're changing this activity from a P3 to a production, because the students, if it's a play, the students should have 5 minutes together in a group to prepare their play. They don't have to write down every single word they say. That depends on their level, of course. I find lower level students, you might want to give them more time and tell them that they can read, they can write out the whole script, the whole scenario. Others, you can tell them to generally plan an outline of their play and they do a bit of improvisation in front of the others. This is, again, a great way to get students to practice their verb patterns, basically. So there you have it, verb patterns attitude, 4 types of activity. A P1, which is basically 2 fill-in-the-blank activities. A P2, which are 2 card flip collections of cards. A P3, card flip with characters. And an activity that you can use as a P3 or as a production, depending on how you frame it. We call it mini dialogues. You will have that for most verb patterns, well, for now, for all verb pattern collections that we develop. I thought I saw a... It is, it's also, yes, I agree. We try to make the mini dialogues. Sometimes our mini dialogues go a bit crazy, we know, but we try to combine. We try to combine. I can't go camping with you because I can't stand leaving my pet dinosaur alone. Come on, your pet dinosaur, just one weekend. Your pet dinosaur can't feed itself for a weekend. Okay. Buy him a really, really huge, buy him the biggest teddy bear you can find in Moscow. Walking, he can walk on his own. So coming back to your original question, that's what production, just the difference that P3s, students have no preparation time. Production, students have preparation time. So if you give students time to prepare their script, their scenario for their play, for the mini dialogue, then yes, it becomes a production activity and it's different. No, how dare I think that? So sorry. Yes, you're absolutely right. I shame, shame, shame. So after the dinosaur teddy bear wonderful little break, I just also wanted to show you the second collection we've developed. It's same 4 types of activities, just a new verb pattern collection. We call it offers and replies. This as well comes up a lot in textbooks, and it's very important for exams. These are verb patterns that students must know. Suggest plus ing, recommend plus ing, offer advice plus 2 plus v1, mind, fancy plus ing, refuse 2 plus v1, consider and prefer plus ing. As you can see, prefer comes up sometimes. Some verbs will come up in different collections, but repetition, as we know, is always good for our students. So first you start with F by B. This is your P1, and you have 2 different fill in the blank activities. And then same thing, there you go. Offers and replies, P1. Offers and replies, card flip. Offers and replies, card flip with characters. Again, same kind of idea. They take turns to take 1 card from each stake and make a sentence based on them. Suggest plus a cow. She suggested her cow friends eating apples from the orchid instead of grass. That's a pretty smart cow, and showing some very good leadership skills. Sorry, I just showed you that. That was card flip with characters. And finally, the mini dialogues, same idea, the same collection of verbs. And there you have mini dialogue ideas. Again, they can be used as a P3, do it now. They can also be used as a production, take 5-10 minutes to prepare a little play. The great thing about plays is that I know we don't do enough of that at all, but social media, a social media presence is very important to teachers as freelancers, but also working in schools. It really changes your profile as a teacher. I see it more and more. I don't do enough of it, I know, and Tom and I are considering it and trying to push us to do it more. It's just not our thing. We're not used to it. But the teachers that are good at it and that do a lot of it really get great feedback and get great recognition and become a very big asset to whatever school they're at. Because you know what, if you have a strong social media presence, you're an asset. So these little plays, you can shoot little videos, little Instagram stories, things like that of your students performing them. And that will just be absolutely great for you on your social networks. Your school, your directors will be very happy of it. Make sure they're children, so make sure you ask parents. That is very important. So, mini dialogues. Suggest your friend going to a pottery class with you. You're a doctor. Recommend your patient to eat healthier. You're a grandchild. Offer your grandparents to move to the countryside. Ask your boss if they mind giving you a raise. I love that one. Your friend is going to a job interview tomorrow. Give them advice on what they should or shouldn't do to get hired. You're a boss. Your employee just asked you for a raise. Refuse to give it to them. It's a lot of fun. Again, you can read. I'm not going to go over every single one of them. It's good fun. There's a dentist one, of course. Your dentist tell your patient that they should consider getting fake teeth. It's good fun, and children will get into it. It's very fun for them to imagine. They still have that funny picture of, yes, the old grandpa and grandma with the fake teeth and everything. So they'll have fun with that. There you go. Those are the verb patterns, and we're short on time. Any questions on the verb patterns? I have the impression I've been speaking for a while now. I said a lot. I hope everything was clear in terms of instructions, how to use them, and how we're going to continue developing these. We're going to continue verb patterns. You'll see regularly new and new collections appearing. Listen. I don't know if it's an old tragedy, but you're absolutely right. I had noticed myself that yes, dentists do come up a lot in our activities, and you know what? That's definitely from America because that's definitely from America. Teeth are a big deal in America. Going to the dentist is very important, and you know, we call it the Colgate smile in America. I know that in a lot of countries around the world, it's called the American smile, that perfect smile of straight teeth and absolutely pure white teeth. Um, the Americans often mock us, the Europeans, for our teeth because, yes, dental care is not as well developed. Well, that's for my generation, Jess. I'm speaking of my generation. And I don't know, it's not a tragedy, it's not a trauma. But yeah, I do remember going to the dentist a lot in America. And it was a lot of fun because every time you went to the dentist, you got a free tiny little dinosaur figurine. And that made going to the dentist's way more fun. So coming back to your question, I don't remember a specific tragedy or trauma, but I see what you mean. I'll think more about it, need some introspection there. I might have blacked it out, you know. All right, comparatives. I do remember the time when my father had to have his wisdom teeth removed, and that was a bit shocking for me. That might have been that. I do remember that being a bit shocked. I think it was the first kind of moment where I was like, ooh, my dad is human. He's not a superhero. So moving on, again, it's Saturday. You know exactly how you can keep me just chatting and talking about random things. So getting back to our affairs. The last activity, that's it. So we were going for, you requested as well, more ways of practicing comparatives. There you go. That's the easiest way to find it. Last activity developed for comparatives. Check it out. This is a P3 that we developed. We got a number of requests for activities for P3s, more P3s for comparatives, because for comparatives, superlatives, things like that, P1s are very clear. There are a lot of P1s in textbooks, again, online. You can find loads of those. If you're online, do be careful with free materials sometimes. They're not always well adapted. P2s are clear. I think we've put enough card races and card flips on the website to have loads and loads of variations for automating comparatives and superlatives. Now, P3s, we've added 2 versions of this activity. So it's just called Guess What It Is. I think the title is almost self-explanatory. This activity is great for students to practice their comparatives and superlatives at various levels, okay? Low-level students can do the activity practicing their basic comparatives, okay? Better, worse, more expensive, cheaper, just the basic structures. Whilst you can use this activity with higher level students as well, and you just adapt it to, well, you don't need to adapt it, you model the activity in a way that the students understand what you expect to see. If they're upper intermediate students, if they're upper intermediate students, I don't expect, I mean, hearing just more expensive, cheaper, better, worse, it's kind of, it's too easy for upper intermediate students. I want to hear, I expect to hear things like not as much more expensive, a little less cheap, things like that. Students are supposed to be using more complex structures in this activity because really they can do a lot of different things. So it's very simple. One student takes a card and describes the object using only comparatives and superlatives. It's one of the biggest animals in the world, but it's shorter than a giraffe. It isn't as heavy as a whale. And you guess elephant, for example. There are a lot of different cards. This is a simple example. Let me show you cards just for you to get it. It will be more direct. So you have the instructions, of course, and here you have plenty of cards. Bear, rainbow, dragon, sword, radiator, castle, China, princess. So there are a lot of different cards, a lot of different ways of describing these using comparatives. As I said, this type of activity, guess what it is, can be easily used with different kinds, different level students, because all you need to do is, first of all, your model needs to be very clear to the students. Second of all, you just select the cards that are adapted to their level. This is a P3, so you don't want to wake up their logic, their system 2. If there's a word that they don't know, they're going to ask, oh, teacher, what does this mean? Why that? Things like that. You want to stick to vocabulary that they know. Same thing, you have a second collection of easier words. Cow, coconut, snake, Mount Everest, New York, lion, president, rat, things like that. So that is what I wanted to show you today. Our new verb pattern collections. I'm going to repeat everything. We'll do it in opposite order because we're right here already. So guess what it is for comparatives? It's easy to find. You can simply select comparatives in target language, and then you just filter by last date created. That's the easiest way to find it. You can, of course, type in the name of the activity here. Guess what it is? Now, there was that. The other thing, now you know that there are verb pattern collections here. In target language, search for verb patterns. They'll appear here. You have them right here. 4 different types of activities for each collection of verbs that we'll add. What else? And then we had all the activities that were designed to, increasing interest. So you have the story framework is here. And you have increasing interest in activity, type of activities. There you go. These are the activities that we saw that to engage and distract students. There we go. That's it for us today, for this Saturday. Again, I'm sorry last Saturday I wasn't able to give a webinar. Any thoughts, any comments, questions for this week? Is there anything else you would like me to develop, to work on, that I can do?
Do you have anything on the is and the are in description, like rules or something like that? Because the children, they struggle to use the is and the are all the time.
There are, really?
Well, yes, I work with kids.
No, yeah, I understand. We definitely want to automate that. I've worked with that before. I, I I don't have any very, very low level students at the moment, so I haven't done that. So let me check. There
Mm,
are. Well, let's start in target language.
they build their sentences like they do
There you
it in
go.
Russian, and they
Look,
forget about the restaurant. Okay.
just in target language, type there. There you go. There you
Okay.
go.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
So do speed and scrambles. Do you remember what speed and scramble is? You have the instructions here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good way. So this is a P2 type activity. You have sentences and they need to unscramble as fast as they can to make the sentences. So I see two speed unscrambles for there is, there are. And okay, the Dream Island project, that's a production activity or a project. So wait, let me write. So that's different. It's very good for them to practice that. Okay, in this project, kids develop a dream island. Okay, so you have even a picture and everything. Do you see in my this is my Candy Island. So they're ice cream hills. I mean, that's the best in summer. If you don't know what to do, you go to my ice cream hills. There's a hot chocolate volcano. It's really nice. It's be careful. It's very hot, so you don't want to touch it like just when it erupts. Just let it flow down 1 kilometer of the mountain, and then it's good temperature. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is a production activity where students are going to, it's very long, okay? They're going to take time developing the dream island and everything, and at the end, when they present the dream island, they're going to use a lot of there is, there are. So I've noted down, because I see only two P2 activities, two speed and scrambles, and one production. You need more, right? Like you need P1s and things like that. Uh, Perfect. Yeah, do you mean Katerina Stashevska's group? Perfect. Okay. So Maria, did you see the comment of Lena? By Katya, she means Katerina Stashevskaya, the pro-English group. So I recommend that. That's another way of doing it. And I've taken a note, and I'll work with Tom to see if we can develop more activities for there is, there are. All right? All right. I understand. It's Saturday. Feel free to explain if you have time. You can also do it in write it as a post in the VK group as well, resource education, if you like. No, don't be too shy. That's the don't be too shy. I think it was where did we read that with Tom? There was a very good business book that we read. It was the examples of um, it was about leadership. It was very interesting, and there's one thing, for example, that most of the top leaders today agree on, and it's people like, we're talking about people like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, things like that, Steve Jobs. They all agree that if you're too shy to ask questions, then you're going to miss a lot. They say that they achieved a lot of their things by asking questions. You feel free, really, it'll be nice. We're really happy. Tom sent an email to that Anders Ericsson, who is studying deliberate practice, because really when we found that that he was developing this deliberate practice idea, analyzing, we figured it was just like our P2s. And so Tom wrote, and guess what? The guy answered back. And now Tom is in contact with him for a study on Olympiad results. So just out of asking. Asking and answering, I understand. Yeah, he's really interesting. And surprisingly, yeah, we just contacted him and he answered back and he's very enthusiastic about what we're doing. So yeah, we're sometimes asking it opens doors, and you wouldn't expect it. We were just like, wow, okay, great. Are there any more questions, comments for this week on this? Comparatives. We did comparatives, verb patterns, and increasing interest of students, because that is a challenge, and that can be a challenge at the beginning of the academic year, because it's something we can't leave till later for too long. If there are problems at the beginning of the academic year, ignoring them, that's typical of guys. Just ignore the problem. Pretend like it's not there. Don't talk about it or anything like that. You can't do that with kids. So in case you have those trouble in getting students to be interested in the activities, interested in lessons, I highly recommend those activities. Let us know which ones you find useful, and we'll continue adding more. All right? I'll write it down. Mm-hmm. All right then. So I'll wish you a very, very nice weekend. Take it easy and do enjoy the little rest that we have before Monday. All right? Have a great weekend. Take it easy. Relax. Remember to be very generous with yourselves. Saturday and Sunday are the days for that. Be generous to yourself. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.